Well, folks, it seems America's still stuck in its own reality show, and the ratings they're abysmal. President Trump's approval rating is circling the drain at 40%, a new low for this point in a presidency. It's almost like constantly tweeting insults and enacting policies most Americans hate isn't a recipe for success. Who knew? Now, you might think a leader facing such dismal numbers might try something radical like, I don't know, listening to the people, but you'd be wrong. The grand experiment of ignoring the majority continues, with policies like those tariffs, disapproved by 59% of Americans, and those oh-so-popular federal cuts, a whopping 55% disapproval. It's like watching someone try to put out a fire with gasoline, entertainingly disastrous but ultimately terrifying. And the political divide? Let's just say the Grand Canyon is looking less like a natural wonder and more like a metaphor for American politics. Republicans, bless their hearts, are standing by their man, with 75% approval for Trump. Democrats, meanwhile, are at a solid 93% disapproval. It's like we're living in two different countries, both struggling to share the same Twitter feed. This level of division isn't just frustrating, it's downright dangerous. How can any nation hope to tackle the enormous challenges we face when we can't even agree on basic facts, let alone solutions? Spoiler alert, we can't. And speaking of challenges, let's take a quick trip around the globe, shall we? Don't worry, it's not a vacation. Unless your idea of a relaxing getaway involves dodging bullets in Gaza, navigating political turmoil in Sudan, or witnessing the heartbreaking consequences of war in Ukraine, then by all means pack your bags. But wait, there's more. The planet's having a bit of a meltdown, also known as climate change. Remember COP30 in Brazil? Yeah, that's coming up, and the pressure's on to actually do something about this whole planet on fire situation. We're talking serious cuts to emissions, especially from those gas-guzzling ships and the ever-expanding agricultural industry. And if that wasn't enough to keep you up at night, let's talk about money, or rather the lack thereof. The global financial system, much like your uncle who keeps borrowing $20 and promising to pay you back, is in dire need of reform. The 4th International Conference on Financing for Development, try saying that 5 times fast, is aiming for a more equitable and inclusive system, one that actually prioritizes things like, global health and supporting young people, because what's the point of a healthy planet if half the population is struggling to survive? It's like having a fully stocked pantry, but forgetting to eat. So how do we fix this mess? Well, for starters, we could try this radical thing called working together. I know, it sounds crazy, but hear me out. The UN, bless its bureaucratic heart, is celebrating its 80th anniversary. That's like 1,000 years in international organization years. But here's the thing, the UN, much like your grandma's favorite armchair, is in desperate need of an update. We're talking a complete overhaul, a 21st century makeover, you get the picture. Implementing the 2024 Pact for the Future would be a good start, but let's be honest, we need more than just a fresh coat of paint. We need a complete renovation. And while we're at it, can we finally get a woman in charge? I mean, come on, it's 2025. The upcoming Secretary General election is the perfect opportunity to break that particular glass ceiling. And who knows, maybe a woman's touch is just what the world needs right now. Speaking of women, let's talk about gender equality, or rather, the lack thereof. We're celebrating the 30th anniversary of the Beijing Declaration, a document that, on paper, promised a more equitable world for women. And while we've made some progress, it's not nearly enough. Women's rights are under attack around the globe, and it's time we fight back. But before we go saving the world, let's take a look at what we can do right here in the good old US of A. First things first, we need to address this whole two Americas situation. That means finding common ground on divisive issues like tariffs and federal cuts. And for God's sake, can we please stop treating each other like enemies? Remember that whole United We Stand thing? Yeah, we might want to try that again. On the economic front, we need to address the very real concerns of everyday Americans. That means tackling issues like affordable housing, because living in a shoebox shouldn't be aspirational, and ensuring access to healthcare, because getting sick shouldn't mean going bankrupt. But perhaps the most pressing issue of all is the funding crisis facing humanitarian agencies. These organizations are on the front lines of every crisis we've talked about, and they're struggling to survive. We're talking a 57% funding gap. That's like trying to run a marathon with one leg tied behind your back. So, here's the bottom line, folks. We're facing some serious challenges, both at home and abroad. But the good news is, we've got the solutions. All we need now is the political will to act. And we need to act now because the clock is ticking.